So you've been in turns before. You could go easier in one turn, and it's harder to go in the other turn on a Harley. You ever felt that on your bike?
Absolutely. I'm like Zoolander. I can't turn right.
That's because your alignment's off on your motorcycle. One leg will be up. You know your bike's going to be off. If it's off a 16-inch, what's that going to do when you're doing 80 miles an hour down the road and you're going into a turn when all this is off? Every single one we measure, every single one is off. I'm not saying maybe one or two. I'm saying every single one of them. You see this tool right here, it slides up and down, tells you what inches and how far off it is. So if you go over here and you let the swing arm relax, you take the shocks off and let the swing arm relax because it'll give you a different reading if the shocks are on. So you take this tool and you put it on here like this, slip it on there, tighten it down, and it fits, right? So if you go over to the left side, because everything's going to pull to the left because your whole drive line is on the left, your belt, all that, your primary. So it's always going to pull this way. So we're checking the vertical right now. So if you look at this, it doesn't fit.
Wow.
Okay, so this is a link that sits on top of the motor and the frame on a Harley Davidson 09 and up, right? It's supposed to be a, like on the older bikes, it'll be an adjustment heim joint. And this thing doesn't move. So what we do is we take this and replace this right here, right? So we could adjust it. And so we usually are getting about 1.5, 2 turns out of this thing because this whole motor is pushed to the left, the top part of this motor right here, and your whole primary swing arm is all one unit. It's all together. So this motor is actually pulled this way, right? So how we'd fix that is put that heim joint that I just showed you, install it in here, turn it so your motor will go straight, and when we put it in, you'll see these two bolts will match up.
So does it come unaligned or does it?
It comes unaligned from Harley.
Okay, what about over time?
And it gets worse. We're gonna come to that part right now.
Okay.
So now not only is your bike the vertical off, your horizontal's off, your front end's a little off, and you're pulling. So you've been in turns before. You could go easier in one turn, and it's harder to go in the other turn on a Harley. You ever felt that on your bike?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'm like Zoolander. I can't turn right.
That's because your alignment's off on your motorcycle. So when you buy the bike, it comes with this dog bone, we call it. It's supposed to be a heim joint. Sits there, it's fixed, it will not move. It can't move because there's no adjustment in it. So what actually is happening is when they put the motor in and everything, they put this joint in, your motor is actually pushed this way because your whole swing arm, everything's leaning this way because of the measurement that you just seen. You just seen that it's off this far, right? It won't go on. You're off about almost probably like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch.
So question then, so you've had bikes that have had poor alignment and you've aligned them. Do you have personal experience on how it functions, how it handles before alignment and after alignment?
Handles 10 times better because of the bike's aligned, it's not crabbing.
So Kenny, when someone's bike is out of alignment and they're getting that quote death wobble and Harley or other mechanics are chasing it, it's the tire balance, it's the spokes, it's the shocks, all these things.
It's all alignment. So if you take, let's say, a lot of people love Legends, Progressive, Olin's, all those, and you're putting them on your bike, and it's correcting the problem a little bit, but it's going to come back because the simple fact is when you hook up, let's say you hook up one shock on Olin's or any of those, you're always adjusting the bottom to fit one side or the other. So you're actually getting one shock that's a little shorter than a little longer than the other, and now you have the alignment problem, and you just locked it in. So the first thing to do is align your bike, then put all that on. That's what we're seeing. We just done 2 of them. And man, the one guy, Jason, that came back, he's like, my bike rides. Like I let go of the bars, it does nothing. I go into a left-hand turn, it's perfect. I go in a right-hand turn, it's perfect. He's like, it's straight. It just shoots straight into the turns, and there's none of this like in a turn. You know, our bikes will do this. One turn, you'd be zooming through it.
Right.
The next turn, you're kind of like fighting it on these big Harleys. You ever ride like a BMW or a Honda or one of those bikes? Man, they go through the turns because they're perfectly aligned. Most of them are perfectly, they carve the turns like big time.
Yeah.
These, you're pointing and shooting, but you're kind of fighting it. And one, it's because of the alignment on these bikes. So we had to straighten out this, and we'll straighten out the vertigo with the hind joint. And then we put a new bushing in here, and we get all this straight, and then we work on the front end. Make sure both trees are evenly spaced on your tubes 100, and your bike will go down the road.
Got it. So, Kenny, September the 23rd, the Bling Divas Motorcycle Club's annual event, you're going to be bringing this out. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so someone can bring their bike. You'll have the lift. They'll be able to put it up there, and you'll
I'll bring all the proper tools to change and give a couple of those heim joints out and let someone go take their bike out, try it, and see what they think. And we'll align their bike and show the community what we could do for their motorcycle. And through you guys, we want people to ride safe. We don't want issues. And it's just like a car, just like your toe and your camber on a car. If it's off, how's the thing going to ride?
And eventually it wears out other things
Components,
on your
yes.
bike. So so this fix, about how long does it take to do
It'll take us about 3 hours to do everything. The front, we start at the rear and then the front, and we make sure everything's straight. So it'll take us about 3 hours, and we're going to charge $350 for that.
That's a
Pretty
good price.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very reasonable. All right.
And we'll make sure your bike is dead nuts.
I don't like the word dead associated with anything that has to do with me on my bike. Okay, so let's call it alive nuts or something else.
Call it whatever you want. It's going to be dead on. So we'll pull your bike up and we'll show you how far off it is.
I think mine's spot on.
You think it's dead nuts?
How much money do you put on that?
I don't, because it's not.
$2?
No, I know
$2.
it's not right.
Two bits. Okay, so it's on, right? See that? It slides on easy.
Is it always to the left?
Oh yeah, it's always going to be off on the left.
It's just a matter of how much. Ooh, it's a lot.
We straightened out our vertical on her bike right now, and the horizontal we're going to get to, but on the 23rd we're going to do both. I just want to show her how much one little bit of aligning your motorcycle on the vertical will make a world of difference in riding your motorcycle. You're like, oh man, this thing is way funner to ride now because it's straight inside the frame. Actually dead nuts inside.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable when you put it on there. My bike was off a half of an inch. And so if you're chasing reasons why you're getting that wobble, you're going into a curve, into a lean, and your bike's not doing what you want to do. That it was incredible just to actually see it. So, September the 23rd, you can come down to 1671 West Horizon Ridge, Full Throttle Law compound, and Kenny and his team will be set up, and they'll be able to do exactly this, right? So what can they expect to do on the 23rd?
Well, they could expect to come down if you want to get your Dyna FXR or FLH, Road Glide, Road King, Street Glide are just standard. They're all the same on the FLHs. Bring your bike down. We'll show you how far off your bike is. We'll have the Heim joints there to do the vertical. We'll do the horizontal, but it'll take too long, but I'll show you what you need to do when you bring it down to our shop, and we'll fix the rest of it. And your bike will ride 10 times better and handle all the more better than it ever has, because they're all from the factory, like I said earlier.
Yeah, that's all we want. We just want to get on our bikes and have a great time. We don't want to worry about a specific speed that we go to, and all of a sudden we get into that death level. So I'm super excited. I got a couple more days before I can actually get on it and ride it, but I can't wait to see the difference. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. So we'll see you on the 23rd, right?
Yeah, on the 23rd. Why pay all that money if your bike isn't aligned? We're here to help.
Great. All right, we'll see you then.